Do you ever have so many ideas that you don't know what to focus on first? And that's if you can actually remember them all. Today I'm gonna show you how I keep track of all of my ideas without the overwhelm. Just because I have an idea doesn't mean I need to keep it up here, and it doesn't mean that it is an idea I'm even gonna care about tomorrow. But if we know where to put it, how to channel it, how to build on it, we can really become better, more creative thinkers and actually make some of those ideas happen. This is my idea flow. The first step is the most important step, and that is that you need to have a container. I have containers for so many things. I have containers for things in my pantry. I have containers for all the kids' toys that are everywhere. But most importantly, I have containers for ideas. I have containers for tasks. I have containers for projects. If you know you get a lot of ideas, you've got to have a place to put them. You have to be ready to catch. So before you can do anything, before you can get organized or excited about any idea that you have to agree that every idea is worthy to be contained. You need to know exactly where it will go the moment it strikes. Being in that vibe, being in that moment where you have such a good idea that you're like, oh, that's a good idea. Someone should do it. Put that somewhere. That someone doesn't have to be you, but the idea needs to come out of your mind and be processed. The best case scenario is if you write it down. The thing about typing something, it's not the same processing that your brain has to go through. When you have to take something that's in your mind, use a pen, and on paper, actually process it. It's different. Especially when you're typing and then you type things wrong and autocorrect doesn't understand what you're saying. Like, it just ends up in there. It's probably not even understandable later. But being able to write it down is awesome. If you can't, listen, I don't always have something on me. I try to carry my note cards everywhere. I have some kind of way to catch an idea. But you know what? Sometimes I'm just on my phone and I have an idea. I have a place to go. I have an inbox in my phone. It's in my Notion template. That is where I keep my ideas. So that when I have time to process it later, I know exactly where to find them. The bottom line here is agreeing that your brain is a terrible filing cabinet. So stop treating it like it is one and assume it is not. Assume that as soon as a task you have to do or an idea strikes, that it should get out of here and get down on paper. And the next step, once you have a container, is to capture. These ideas are going to happen, they're going to come. The best people who watch this channel, the smart ones, the good students, they know that as they watch, they should have pen and paper ready. Because something that I say could hit you like a ton of bricks. It may not even be how I said it or what I said or exactly what I was teaching was the thing. But because you were open, because you were excited, because you were into the energy of it, something hits you. You need to be ready to write the moment the idea strikes. So as they happen, get excited. Get excited about ideas that are about to happen because they're going to rain down on you. As soon as you have that container ready, you're going to be like, I'm good now. Let's go. Come on, ideas. I'm ready for you now. Capture the ideas. Capture as many as you can. Here are a couple of rules. Number 1, no judgment. Number 2, no organizing. The most we're organizing is that you have one container. As a matter of fact, if your ideas are coming at you at the same time as calendar appointments you need to set or phone calls you need to make and other tasks and projects that pop up, put them all together. I have an inbox for everything so that when I process it, they go to their designated place. But right now we cannot organize. We have to accept the idea as fast as it comes to us. So just capture, no judgment, no organizing. The faster you process the idea out of your brain, the more space you have for it to build, the more space you have for other things that you do need to actually spend time focusing on that maybe are a priority right now, the better that you feel because you're not trying to multitask and collect too much with a brain that's meant to do more thoughtful work. This is the best part. You can trick your brain into thinking that you did something. So if your idea is, I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to become an astronaut. I'm going to go to the moon. You could write that down become an astronaut, and go to the moon. By taking it out of your brain and writing it down, you've literally told your mind you did it. It feels like the task was checked off, and that freedom changes everything. You get anxious, you get depressed, you get sad, you get overwhelmed because you're trying to keep everything in your head. So simply by giving yourself the way that you put it in a container, the idea is here, we take it out, we put it away, you're gonna change everything about how you think. When you're done capturing your idea, this is very important. You need to stop in the flurry of writing and getting it out and look at it and ask yourself, reading it back, will this make sense to me at a later date? Now, ideally, we could process the idea sooner, do whatever needs to be done to build on it today, tomorrow, while the idea is very fresh. And when I say build on it, I don't mean that you actually go and do the thing necessarily, but it might need more context. It might need to be expanded. If it's a piece of content, for instance, if you're like, I have a book idea, cool. How fast can we unpack the basics of that book so that it's out of your mind and then filed away, again, expanded and even more understandable? We don't have time to do that in most cases. When the idea comes, you have to get it out. You have to get it out in 2 seconds, written down. And then when you read it back, you need to say, I know exactly what that means. And I will know exactly what that means in a week, in a month. If somebody else read it, they would get it. That's how you know you've captured an idea fully and well. It may still need more, but if you'll understand it later, you'll do a better job of giving it more later. By the way, I share all my best ideas on this channel. If you've been here for a while, then you know. And if you've been here for a while, you're probably subscribed. But if you're not, double check. We have a goal of hitting 500,000 subscribers, and I'd really use your help with that. The next step is that we need to connect ideas. So earlier I was alluding to the idea of your ideas building and growing. And what happens is as you get interested in different areas of your life, and if you get interested in different subjects or you're becoming an expert in something, you look for a lot of ideas or stories or contexts that inspire you because you're constantly building that idea in your brain, the big idea. So later when we are taking something that you wrote down and saying, oh gosh, that was a good idea, let's make sure we take care of it, we want to connect it to other ideas that you've had. This concept is inspired by a lot of books that I've read, but one in particular that I'm thinking of is by Sanka Arens. It's called How to Take Smart Notes. And he talks about the fact that you want to connect different ideas or different notes to each other because they help to build into something bigger and make more sense out of the context of each of those. So one idea could be really well formed on its own in just a few sentences, but it could become an entire chapter of a book if you connect it to a story of something that happened in your life. That might be a separate note. So when you have ideas, if you don't want to be overwhelmed by them, you need to make them more relevant. And that relevancy comes from other ideas, other stories, other experiences, other notes coming into play and you being able to connect them to each other. Back in the day, we had to do this with commonplace books or commonplace filings, which is like note cards of philosophical ideas and bibliography of where things came from in different books and in different studies. Now we have lots of amazing software that will do this and apps that will do this. I've been using Obsidian lately. I have tried Roam Research. I've done so many things to find the right tool for me that helps me to put an idea somewhere, the container, let it live exactly the way it is, and then later, as something else is inspiring me, finding ways to connect all of the dots to each other. And rather than manually having to file them in a little filing cabinet, which is not how we have to live in this day and age, I allow linking to different notes to connect so that later, if I am writing the chapter of a book, I can make it make sense with all of the different experiences and ideas that I've had. I don't have to be overwhelmed by these ideas anymore. I can have them. They are mine. They're filed away in a real filing cabinet for me to use when the time comes. When I sit down to make a YouTube video, there's a lot that goes into it. I don't just sit here and shoot. I have to make sure this time is worth it for you. So while I can speak to a lot of this naturally and from my own experience, I'm gonna go to my files of ideas and stories and say, what would be relevant to this? How could I teach this topic, the title, and give actual strategies and stories that back up those strategies? I pull them from my filing cabinet, okay? Do we also use AI to fully form the idea in ways that we haven't even thought about? Yes, that's a great idea. But all of these ideas are already mine at the start, and I can just make them better. So just getting any idea on your own is so liberating when you know what to do with it, because you can connect it to so many things. Your ideas don't multiply when you hoard them in your brain. They grow when you connect them to each other. And the final step is really important, and that's to continue to question your ideas. Now, this isn't a strange concept. If we have an idea, we're probably most likely to say like, oh, that's kind of a silly idea. Why would I do that? But a lot of people will forget to question the idea, and they'll think, aha, that's the answer. It might not be the answer. It might be the question. It might be the beginning. It might be the hypothesis that we need to prove or not prove, or simply allow us to think of new ideas. So when you have an idea, it's not necessarily that it's the punchline. It might just be the beginning. And that's why that connection to other thoughts and stories and ideas and notes could be really helpful, because the more you question the idea, the more you actually make yourself a believer of it, because you're looking for all sides of the story, not just assuming positive Polly that all is great and that this must be a thing. Question it openly. Look for proof, look for evidence, look for something that says, no, not the case. Because really, if you want something to be true, you can find enough evidence that it will be true. But if you also want something not to be true, same thing. All of it makes you smarter. All of it makes you more interesting. All of it makes you more aware of what could be next for you. What is this a good idea I even want to focus on? Am I excited about this? Would I spend time on this all the time? Keep questioning it, and you'll learn a lot about yourself. The difference between somebody who has lots of ideas and somebody who is a thought leader of ideas is curiosity. That's my idea flow, because I don't want you to say, I have too many ideas, I don't know which one to focus on. Now you know how to process them in a way that makes you think bigger about what's possible in your life. But if you want more mindset shifting to happen so you have more ideas, but you're struggling to get just the essentials done, then I highly recommend you check out How to Get Your Life Together 1 Week at a Time. Click here, check it out, and I'll see you there.